Good morning, students. So we are trying to start a new series primarily for the political science and international relations students. And this will also be beneficial for GS students, mainly on areas related to security, international relations, and to a certain extent, understanding international politics. So in this series, what we shall be doing is that we shall be discussing some of the lead articles or the editorials of primarily, it can be the Hindu or Indian Express or even Hindustan Times, Times of India, it can be from any newspaper or journal. And I shall be discussing it briefly, and so that you should get to know that how to read that article and how to make notes so that it is beneficial for your preparation. So today I am going to discuss the lead article that has been written by Pratap Bhanu Mehta on 15th June in Indian Express with the title, "Why the rejection of BJP is not a rejection of Hindutva." He questions what next. So, and this article, it is important because of following factors. First is to understand the decline of BJP, because in Indian government and politics, we had been reading whether this is a second one-party system or fourth party system as given by various scholars. Next is how to understand the voter preference, how it is changing, because generally that is also a question which is asked by the UPSC. And next is how religion as a factor is important in Indian politics and whether it is important or not. So, in the starting paragraph, Pratap Bhanu Mehta, he says that politics is back to normal. Normal means he is talking about the normalcy before 2014. Because from 2014 to 2024, we saw a decade of one-party majority, which was termed as second one-party system or fourth party system, where it was the BJP which was the system defining party, like the Congress of the previous times post-independence. So he is saying that now it is back to normal, and that normalcy means back to coalition which started since 1999. That was the NDA 1 led by the BJP, and then the two tenures of Congress, that was from 2004 to 2014. And that is why he is saying that politics is back to normal. Because when it is a coalition politics, generally the scholars, they say that coalition is good because there are different stakeholders, their interests are taken into consideration, and one party is generally not able to run a roughshod. What we saw during the BJP, that is NDA 1 and 2, that is BJP from 2014 to 2019, and then from 2019 to 2024, whether it is land acquisition laws or it is the farm laws. Okay. So then later on he has gone to discuss the methods that have been used by political parties. The first method that he suggests is that the government schemes. Regarding government schemes, he has said that the various governments, whether it is the central government, previously during the Congress, we had seen it is Narega. During BJP, we have seen whether it is Ujjwala or it is PM Awas or it is Jan Dhan or PM Kisan, that is Kisan Samman Nidhi. All these efforts were aimed at welfare initiatives so that it can directly impact people, and not just at the center, even at the state level, whether we see in Bihar or Odisha, Telangana, Rajasthan, Andhra Pradesh, or even West Bengal. So all these states, they have gone for welfare initiatives so that to garner votes. But he says that when we look at the states, whether it is Odisha or in Telangana, the previous government led by K. Chandrasekhar Rao, or in the Rajasthan, the government led by Ashok Gehlot, or in Andhra Pradesh led by KCR, all these governments, they lost. despite these welfare initiatives. So he says that these welfare initiatives, they themselves have limitations, and later on he has gone to explain it in detail. And the second method that he suggests, that is identity politics. So here do not limit the identity politics only with the factor of religion. But he also says that apart from religion, caste is also a factor. And he has explained that BJP goes for Hindutva politics, while the opposition, it has gone for caste politics. He has talked about the Mandal agitation or Mandal Commission implementation. We saw that in states, whether it is Samajwadi Party in the Uttar Pradesh or in Bihar, whether it is JDU or RJD, all of them have gone for caste politics so as to cater to specific vote bank and come back to power. However, he has showed that both these politics, they have their own limitations. And what are those limitations? He has said that the economic effect of all these welfare initiatives are limited. And as he says that the voter, they have already got, whether you talk about Narega or you talk about Raitu Bandhu or you talk about PM Kisan or you talk about PM Awas Yojana, and the voter, they ask that what is next. So he says that we can term Indian voter as quite demanding. And next is that not all are benefited because of this. There is always a certain segment. For example, when we are looking, then unemployment, it has increased. Poverty, though we say that poverty, the government has successfully reduced it, but at the same time, when we look at the global hunger index, India is performing very poorly. So what does this show? That all are not being benefited. And the third problem is that there is lack of structural changes. He says that it is pretty easy to make toilet, but what about the sewerage? For example, Delhi government is providing free water, but what about the water connectivity? He says that MSP is easy, but what about the broader agricultural transformation that takes time and which is boring, whose results you do not see immediately? So as a result, even with respect to government schemes, that is welfare initiatives, these are specific limitations. And then he says that with respect to identity politics itself has got certain limitations. For example, if we look at the Mandal politics, the question was, okay, you wanted to give reservation to the OBCs, you have given reservation, what next? And that was the reason why we saw that the regional parties that emerged after the Mandal politics, their influence reduced. So what they did next? One was that the demand for increase of quota, what Rahul Gandhi used to say, जिसकी जितनी भागीदारी उसकी उतनी हिस्सेदारी, या जिसकी जितनी संख्या भारी उसकी उतनी हिस्सेदारी. And next demand was about caste census. So they want to bring that identity politics again, because whatever they had given, that has already benefited people. So people are asking what next. And even about for BJP, he says that the core agendas, that was Ram Mandir or 370, they have already been fulfilled. What next? So he says that even identity politics, it has also got its limitation. And as a result, he has gone on to explain that what the result is, it is not a rejection of Hindutva, but it is about the voter asking what next. What BJP was doing, that it was running the same broken record, that we have done this, we have done that. And somewhere I agree to this, because if you look at the last elections, just before the elections, the Modi government, prior to 2019 elections, the government had announced that PM Kisan Nidhi, 6,000 rupees, another was Balakot, and there were multiple other factors. This time, despite creation of Ram Mandir, then 370, that had also been reduced, though there are multiple other factors. But these are some specific factors that have been talked about by Pratap Bhanu Mehta. So if the question is being asked, then you can discuss about the Indian voters being more demanding, continuously asking what next, rather than getting satisfied with what has been promised by the political parties. So he assesses that what these political parties might do in the future, and he puts something like BJP, it will go for searching the next polarizing issue, and that is why whether you talk about this Gyanvapi Kashi Vishwanath, or it is about the Krishna Janmabhoomi issue. Perhaps these are the factors. And even for the INDIA block, he says that they will have to search for mandal politics in new mission mode, and that mission mode is about caste census and removing the limitations on removing 50% cap on reservation. Something we had seen during the Congress campaign and in its manifesto as well. And he has gone on to question that whether any party will take the risk of bringing in those structural transformations, because it is only through structural transformation that whether it is agriculture or it is our urban infrastructure or it is related to challenges related to unemployment that can be tackled. And I have got some issues. I mean, though broadly I agreed with most of the assessments of Pratap Bhanu Mehta, but at one point he has mentioned that the loss of BJP. But the fact is, did BJP really lose? Because you are talking about 240 being a loss. But if you talk about the UPA government, in 2009, it had got the support, it had got only 205 seats. So at that time, it was a win. But now even 240 is being talked as a loss. Though you cannot give this as an example, but try to understand this in Gram Sen perspective about an effort to create a hegemony where even 240 seats that is continuously being posed as a loss of BJP, so that the hegemonic presence of BJP in the Indian politics as well as the aura of Modi, somehow that can be dented, somehow that can be chipped off. Because the opposition also knows that until and unless the brand Modi, it is being challenged, they have very little chance of coming back to power. Okay, so that's all for today's discussion. If you have to give any type of suggestion or any specific topics or any specific type of topic that you want me to discuss in other videos, or you can even mention some of the links or some of the articles that you want me to discuss with you. So please do suggest in the comment box and we shall certainly take that into consideration. Okay, so that's all from today's video. Thank you very much.